8 things you should never share anyone in a world where oversharing has become the norm. Privacy is often undervalued. Social media encourages us to broadcast every detail of our lives, from what we had for breakfast to our innermost thoughts and feelings. We live in an era where transparency is celebrated, and many believe that the more open we are, the more authentic we become. However, true power, wisdom, and authenticity often lie in what we choose to keep private. Privacy is not about secrecy or isolation, it's about discernment. It's about understanding that not everything in your life is meant for public consumption. When you guard certain aspects of your life, you preserve your energy, protect your peace, and maintain control over your narrative. Let's delve deeper into why your power lies in what you keep private and how practicing discretion can transform your life. Imagine your mind as a sanctuary. When you allow too many people into this space, their opinions, judgments, and criticisms can create chaos. Sharing personal details of your life with everyone opens the door to unnecessary interference and negativity. People are naturally inclined to give unsolicited advice, and not all of it is well-intentioned or helpful. Keeping certain aspects of your life private shields you from this noise. It allows you to process your emotions and experiences in peace without the burden of external expectations. When you're not constantly defending your choices or justifying your actions, you can focus on what truly matters: your growth and well-being. There's a certain strength in being an enigma. When people don't know everything about you, they can't predict your next move or undermine your efforts. This doesn't mean you should be deceptive or manipulative. It means you should cultivate a sense of mystery about your life. When you keep your plans, struggles, and achievements private, you maintain control over your narrative. You dictate what others know about you and when they know it. This power of mystery can be particularly beneficial in competitive environments, whether in your career or personal life. One of the most significant reasons to keep your goals private is to shield them from negativity. When you share your ambitions with others, you risk encountering doubt, criticism, or envy. Even well-meaning friends and family members can inadvertently discourage you by pointing out potential obstacles or expressing their fears. By keeping your goals to yourself, you allow them to grow in a safe and nurturing environment. You can focus on the work required to achieve them without being distracted by others' opinions. Once you've accomplished your goals, you can choose to share them if you want. But until then, they belong solely to you. In today's hyper-connected world, it's easy to lose control over your narrative. A single social media post can be misconstrued, and private information can spread like wildfire. When you share too much about your life, you give others the power to define your story. Keeping certain aspects of your life private allows you to maintain control over how you're perceived. It ensures that the story people know about you is the one you want to tell. This doesn't mean you should hide who you are. It means you should be intentional about what you share and with whom. Privacy can also enhance the quality of your relationships. When you're selective about what you share, you create an environment of trust and intimacy. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries and appreciate the moments you choose to share with them. Oversharing, on the other hand, can dilute the value of your personal experiences. If you tell everyone everything, the people closest to you may feel less special or important. By keeping some things private, you create space for meaningful, authentic connections. Keeping aspects of your life private is a way of honoring yourself. It's a declaration that not everything about you is up for public scrutiny or debate. When you value your privacy, you send a message to the world that you respect yourself and your journey. This self-respect can be empowering. It reminds you that you don't need external validation to feel worthy or successful. Your life is yours to live, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for your choices or circumstances. When you're not preoccupied with sharing every detail of your life, you have more time and energy to focus on what truly matters. Privacy allows you to prioritize your goals, nurture your relationships, and invest in your personal growth. Oversharing can be a distraction. It can pull you into a cycle of seeking approval or competing with others. By keeping certain aspects of your life private, you free yourself from this cycle and create space for deeper, more meaningful pursuits. Privacy also gives you the strength to say no. It empowers you to set boundaries and protect your time and energy. When you're not obligated to share everything with everyone, you can make decisions that align with your values and priorities. This strength is particularly important in today's world where the pressure to conform can be overwhelming. By valuing your privacy, you give yourself permission to live authentically and unapologetically. If you're ready to embrace the power of privacy, here are a few steps you can take before sharing personal information. Ask yourself why you're sharing it and whether it's necessary. Communicate your boundaries clearly to others and enforce them consistently. Avoid oversharing on social media and be mindful of what you post. Choose your inner circle carefully and only share personal details with those who've earned your trust. Spend time understanding your own thoughts and feelings before sharing them with others. Recognize that not everyone needs to know everything about you, and that's okay. Your power lies in what you keep private. It's a quiet, unshakable strength that allows you to live authentically, maintain control over your narrative, and protect your peace. Privacy is not about building walls. It's about creating a safe space for yourself, a space where you can grow, thrive, and be truly free. In a world that constantly demands more of you, holding on to your privacy is a revolutionary act. It's a reminder that your life is yours to live and not every chapter needs an audience. So embrace the power of privacy and watch how it transforms your life in ways you never imagined.
In an age where sharing has become second nature, where social media platforms encourage us to bare our lives to the world, and where every experience seems worthy of being documented and posted, the art of keeping certain things private is fading. There's a certain joy, a quiet satisfaction that comes from cherishing moments without broadcasting them. Oversharing, while often done innocently or with good intentions, can sometimes rob us of that joy, leaving us feeling exposed, vulnerable, and even dissatisfied. The joy of living comes from experiencing moments fully, from being present in the here and now. When we constantly feel the need to share those moments with others, we dilute their magic. Think about the last time you experienced something truly special, a heartfelt conversation, a breathtaking view, or a personal victory. Did you pause to savor it, or was your first instinct to tell someone, post about it, or seek validation for it? The more we involve others in our private joys, the less personal and profound they become. What could have been a deep and meaningful experience is now something that feels fleeting, reduced to likes, comments, or someone else's opinion. Oversharing can also make us vulnerable in ways we might not anticipate. When we reveal too much, especially about our emotions, struggles, or aspirations, we open ourselves up to judgment and criticism. Even the people closest to us may not always respond with the understanding or encouragement we expect. Sometimes their reactions can be dismissive, skeptical, or unintentionally hurtful. These responses can chip away at our happiness, turning what was once a source of joy into a source of doubt or regret. By keeping certain things to ourselves, we shield our inner world from unnecessary scrutiny and preserve our peace of mind. Oversharing can lead to a subtle but significant shift in how we perceive our lives. When we constantly seek external validation for our experiences, we start to measure our happiness by how others respond to our stories. A wonderful moment becomes less about how it made us feel and more about how others reacted to it. Did they approve? Did they admire it? Did they respond the way we hoped they would? This dependency on external affirmation can erode our ability to find joy within ourselves. It creates a cycle where our happiness becomes contingent on others, leaving us perpetually chasing a sense of fulfillment that's always just out of reach. Another aspect of oversharing is the loss of intimacy. Not everything in our lives is meant to be shared with the world or even with everyone we know. Some moments are sacred, meant to be held close to our hearts and shared only with those who truly matter. When we overshare, we risk diluting the significance of these moments. They become less special, less ours. For example, sharing the details of a private conversation with a loved one might seem harmless, but in doing so, we risk betraying the trust and connection that made that moment meaningful in the first place. By keeping certain things private, we honor their importance and maintain the intimacy that gives our lives depth and richness. Oversharing can also lead to unintended consequences, particularly in today's digital world. Once something is shared, especially online, it's nearly impossible to take it back. A personal story or photo that felt right to share in the moment might later feel like an overstep, especially when it's met with unexpected criticism or is used against us. The permanence of digital oversharing can haunt us, making us question our judgment and diminishing our joy in hindsight. Even offline, oversharing can create awkwardness or misunderstandings in relationships. Sharing too much too soon or with the wrong person can make others uncomfortable or lead to feelings of regret. It's also worth noting that oversharing often stems from a desire to connect, to feel understood, or to seek comfort. These are natural and human needs, but when we try to meet them by sharing too much, we may inadvertently achieve the opposite. Instead of feeling more connected, we might feel more isolated if our vulnerability isn't met with the response we hoped for. Instead of finding comfort, we might feel exposed. By being selective about what we share and with whom, we can create more meaningful connections that truly nurture us. There's also a certain beauty and mystery in not revealing everything about ourselves. When we keep parts of our lives private, we maintain a sense of individuality and independence. We remind ourselves and others that not everything about us is up for public consumption. This mystery isn't about being secretive or aloof, it's about preserving the parts of ourselves that are sacred and uniquely ours. It's about knowing that we don't need to share everything to be valued, understood, or loved. In fact, sometimes the less we share, the more others appreciate the glimpses we do offer. Joy is a deeply personal experience. It's something that comes from within, from our own perspective, values, and experiences. When we share too much, we risk letting others shape or influence that joy. Their opinions, whether positive or negative, can alter how we feel about something that was once purely ours. A moment that brought us happiness can suddenly feel less significant if someone else dismisses it, criticizes it, or fails to understand its importance. By keeping our joys private, we protect them from being diminished or distorted by others. Oversharing can take us away from the present moment. When we're too focused on sharing an experience, we're not fully living it. We're thinking about how it will be perceived, how to describe it, or how it fits into the narrative we want to present to others. This preoccupation can prevent us from truly appreciating the experience itself. In contrast, when we keep our joys private, we allow ourselves to be fully immersed in them. We experience them more deeply, more authentically, and with a greater sense of gratitude. While sharing can be a beautiful way to connect and express ourselves, it's important to recognize the value of privacy. Oversharing can cost us our joy by making us vulnerable to judgment, eroding our sense of intimacy, and shifting our focus away from what truly matters. By being mindful of what we share and with whom, we can protect our happiness, maintain our peace, and savor the moments that make life meaningful. Sometimes the most profound joys are the ones we keep to ourselves, cherishing them in the quiet corners of our hearts. After all, not every story needs an audience, and not every moment needs to be shared to be meaningful. True joy often lies in the simplicity of living fully, authentically, and privately.
Trust is often seen as the cornerstone of any strong relationship, whether personal or professional. It forms the foundation upon which connections are built, creating a sense of security, reliability, and mutual respect. However, while trust is vital, it cannot exist in a healthy and sustainable way without boundaries. Boundaries act as the invisible framework that preserves individuality, ensures respect, and protects emotional and mental well-being. They define the space where trust can thrive without being taken for granted or misused. Trust is about believing in someone's intentions, their honesty, and their ability to uphold certain promises. Yet even the most trustworthy individuals have limits. They can make mistakes, fall short, or unintentionally overstep. Boundaries are the safety net that ensures these missteps don't harm the relationship irreparably. They provide clarity about what is acceptable and what is not, preventing misunderstandings and resentment. Without boundaries, trust can become a fragile and one-sided expectation, leaving one party feeling vulnerable or exploited. Establishing boundaries is not about distrusting others or building walls, it's about mutual respect. When you set boundaries, you're expressing your needs, values, and limits in a clear and assertive way. You're saying, I trust you, but I also value myself. Boundaries allow trust to exist within a framework of respect, where both parties can feel safe and understood. They prevent the erosion of trust that often happens when one person feels overburdened, unheard, or taken for granted. Boundaries are essential because they protect your sense of self. In relationships without boundaries, it's easy to lose yourself in the expectations or demands of others. You might find yourself agreeing to things that make you uncomfortable, sacrificing your time or energy, or suppressing your feelings to avoid conflict. Over time, this can lead to frustration, resentment, and a loss of trust not only in others but in yourself. Boundaries ensure that you remain true to your values and priorities, allowing you to show up authentically in your relationships. Trust and boundaries work hand in hand to create balance. Trust allows you to open up and connect with others, while boundaries ensure that this openness doesn't come at the expense of your well-being. For example, you might trust a friend enough to share your personal struggles, but you set boundaries by choosing what details to share and how much emotional energy you're willing to invest. This balance ensures that the relationship remains healthy and supportive without becoming overwhelming or draining. Boundaries also foster accountability. When you establish clear boundaries, you're creating a framework for mutual respect and responsibility. This clarity helps others understand your expectations and encourages them to act with integrity. At the same time, boundaries hold you accountable for respecting others' limits and communicating your needs effectively. This mutual accountability strengthens trust as both parties feel valued and understood. One of the challenges of setting boundaries is the fear of conflict or rejection. Many people hesitate to assert their limits because they worry it will damage the relationship or make them seem unkind. However, the opposite is often true. Boundaries are an act of kindness, not just to yourself, but to others as well. They prevent misunderstandings, reduce the risk of resentment, and create a more honest and respectful dynamic. A relationship without boundaries is like a house without walls, unstable and vulnerable to collapse. Boundaries also help you recognize the limits of trust. Trusting someone doesn't mean giving them unlimited access to your time, emotions, or resources. It means trusting them within the boundaries you've set. For example, you might trust a coworker to collaborate on a project, but you set boundaries by keeping personal matters private. Or you might trust a family member to support you emotionally, but you establish boundaries by prioritizing your own mental health. This nuanced approach to trust ensures that it remains a positive and empowering force in your relationships. Healthy relationships are built on a delicate balance of trust and boundaries. Trust allows you to connect with others and share your life with them, while boundaries ensure that these connections remain respectful and supportive. Without trust, relationships can feel distant and disconnected. Without boundaries, they can feel suffocating or chaotic. Both are essential for creating relationships that are not only meaningful but also sustainable. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect and self-care. It's about recognizing your worth and ensuring that your relationships align with your values and needs. Trust is important, but it flourishes best within the framework of boundaries. Together, they create a foundation for relationships that are balanced, respectful, and deeply fulfilling. By embracing both trust and boundaries, you can nurture connections that empower and enrich your life while also honoring your individuality and well-being.